You're probably wondering what's going on here. Well, this is something that Palestinians have to deal with every single day, their existence under an apartheid regime. And what's happening, it's against all UN resolutions too, many of illegal settling over Palestinian homes and land. So what's happening here is an illegal act by the Israeli government destroying this young child's home, basically. So this video emerged and she's screaming, "Where will we live?" as her family home's being bulldozed in front of her eyes in the occupied city of Jerusalem, Al-Quds. And so this is a scene that's all too familiar with Palestinians of their homes being bulldozed by the Israeli government. So basically Israel has, in recent times, has decided there's another 200 Palestinian homes are going to be demolished. And this year alone, there's been about 58 houses and buildings in East Al-Quds between January 1st and January 8th. So that's about 163 Palestinians homeless, and 84 of those were minors. Just recently, in the Palestinian neighborhood of Silwan, there were 3 houses belonging to the Al-Tahan family, which were demolished by Israeli forces. That was about 20 people homeless. So in this particular video, her brother and her are seen crying and begging for the demolition to stop. I mean, seriously and truly, this is just so beyond terrible. So beyond terrible. And this is just normalized. This is just normal. These people, Palestinians, are treated as lower than second-class citizens. They're treated like they're vermin. Does that word remind you of anything? But that's how some of the Israeli officials speak about Palestinians. Look at this child. Just look at, I mean, it's just, I don't know. And this is our responsibility to end this, because nothing is going to happen from within Israel. It's too far gone a situation now where there's extreme racism. Many people in Israel have been completely indoctrinated to believe that Palestinians are terrorists, are vermin, are lesser, and they should be eradicated. And there's literally calls for Palestinians to be wiped out, like genocidal calls, in public. And that is helped along to the nth degree by the party, the Likud party, but other parties are also, they're either worse than the Likud party or similar. This is the extreme racism, genocidal intent of, sadly, the Israeli government, whoever is, almost everybody who's in office.
الله يستر الله ينتقم منهم، من العرب الخونة طيط اطفال هذول بس. نروح يا رب، نروح الله يستر بلايا يا رب. الله ينتقم منهم خطيتهم بس، الله لا يجبرهم خطية العالم. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيهم، ويعتعب الشباب وهالأطفال هذول، الله لا يجبرهم ربهم، حسيبهم ربهم العرب الخوان.
That's literally seeing your home, your childhood home, being destroyed in front of you for no other reason than an oppressive regime that wants to basically wipe out Palestinians. And that's the message that this young girl has been told, basically, with all the actions of the Israeli government towards Palestinians. I implore you to look into this, because if you don't understand what's going on, their homes being demolished before their eyes, and they have absolutely no recourse. There was a 3-story home built in 2001, which was initially never thought by the owner to be under threat, as most Palestinian homes built in Al-Quds are constructed without a permit. The reason for this is that the Israeli authorities make it virtually impossible for Palestinians living in the city to obtain any permits at all, even after paying for them. So Palestinians are forced to either live on the streets, flee the country, or build without a permit. So this man, Ibrahim, stated that he paid a lawyer, Salma al-Sheikh, between $50,000 and $60,000 in order to appeal the Israeli decision to recognize his home as illegal. He stated that the lawyer attempted 4 times to have the decision appealed, all of which were instantly rejected. Ibrahim then said, quote, "I was shocked when they informed me yesterday that my home had been demolished within 1 day. I attempted to plead with them for a few weeks, but they rejected any attempts." In the end, Abraham was handed over another decision to pay for bulldozers, which he was to organize himself to destroy his home or to allow Israeli regime bulldozers to do it by force. He decided to do it himself, as he was informed that if the Israeli authorities were to destroy his home, he would have to pay them up to 250,000 NIS. I think that's 73,000 US dollars. His home has now been reduced to rubble, and his children were left crying over the rubble. This is especially hard for his children to accept, having spent their whole lives growing up in the former residence. Beyond Al-Quds, Israel continues its displacement campaign, especially elsewhere in the occupied West Bank and the Negev desert, where hundreds of houses and structures have been destroyed this year alone. House demolitions occurred in Jenin, northern West Bank, yesterday, and Susiza, southern West Bank, today. Just last year, over 2,200 houses and structures were demolished in Negev in what has been deemed as the, quote, ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, end quote, from the area. And that was a few paragraphs from the yemenpress.org. And this was August 11th, 2020. This was when this particular article was published. So that's sort of the terrible, terrible situation for Palestinians in apartheid Israel. It's beyond apartheid, really, because in South Africa, at the height of apartheid, it was never as bad as what Palestinians have gone through. And to find out more about this issue, if you go to the empirefiles.tv and check out the 7 programs they have on this issue, as well as the film by Abby Martin and Mike Preisner. It is called Gaza Fights for Freedom. And you can find Gaza Fights for Freedom, the documentary, which is an amazing documentary. You can find that at gazafightsforfreedom.com. So thanks for watching. Please support Palestinians in their struggle to end this dreadful occupation. And one of the ways we can do that is to join up the BDS campaign, Boycott, Divestments and Sanctions. That's how it ended in South Africa. I'm old enough to know that that was a very successful thing, boycott, divestment and sanctions. And this is something that's going to have to be done to end this terrible thing, because the change is not going to come from within. Thanks for watching. My name's Trish Roberts. You're watching Faint Signals from Vega. Till next time. And also, just remember that this will be suppressed by YouTube. Anything about Palestine is usually suppressed by algorithms. So if you can share this or share anything from the Empire Files about this issue, it'd be greatly appreciated.